Welcome to Positive Partners, a show about dog training. Today we're focusing on socialization in puppies.
Yes.
So what is the key time for socialization? Is it only up to a year? Well, does it go further than that? Can you socialize a dog that's like 3 years old?
You can help a dog that's 3 years old. The key period of time for socialization is up till about 12 or 16 weeks, and here's how come. The dogs, when they are with their moms and with their litters, they stay very close to home up until they're about 12 to 16 weeks of age, and during that period of time, that dog is learning what is normal in their worlds. So everything that they hear, taste, feel, experience back and forth with their litter mates and with their mom, that's all normal for them, and that stays kind of as an imprint with them the rest of their lives. Now, after that, when we get them, usually we get them if we're getting lucky.
If you get them from a shelter, then you're taking what somebody else's.
Well, yeah, all that period of time is gone.
Right.
So you're kind of having to work backwards. If we get them at 8 weeks of age, they've just been weaned, and then we are taking over socialization that would have been occurring with their litters and with their moms at that point. And so that 8 weeks to 16 weeks or 12 weeks, that window's closing between 12 and 16 weeks, we're hitting the ground running. They grow up fast, and then once they've got that initial imprinting in place, what's normal for them, they are already got a pattern of how to cope, and things aren't a big deal.
What's scary, what's safe, what's dangerous.
That's
kind of figured out.
And we want them to be learning kind of what's safe.
Right.
You know, there's always time to learn what's scary later on in life. Life gives us plenty of chances for that. But anyway, we want them mainly to be learning about what's safe through that 12 to 16 weeks. So we have to get started early. And they do grow up fast. And once we're past that, say, 12 weeks or 16-week period, we want to maintain that pattern with them up through about a year. We don't want to back off of that because, I think you mentioned with one of your dogs that a medical situation came up and your dog had to be in a kennel for physical safety. So we can kind of talk about that when the slide comes up. We've got some slides here of how quickly dogs go from being little puppies to being full-grown dogs.
A German Shepherd that's associated with you and my own dog. So we'll go through the German Shepherd first.
This is my sister's dog, Daisy. And that's 7 weeks coming home, 2 months. Next slide. 3.5 months, Daisy's getting bigger. They're 4.5 and 5 months. At 5 months, Daisy's getting to be a pretty good-sized girl. That's only 20 weeks.
And even there, they can be a problem.
A lot, yeah. You've got a lot of
jumping up and doing
sure.
Things. And if that, a 6-month-old little dog bites you,
well,
still can do a little bit of that.
You're gonna feel it.
But you can expect it though with a little pup.
And look at Daisy there at 7 months, and that's her dog housemate there.
Yeah.
And then next slide.
Okay.
Okay. Now these are your dogs.
That's not in the right order. Should be...
Okay, there we go. Okay, so Daisy at 10 months and Daisy at 11 months, she is a big girl. Now, my sister, Daisy's social with people and dogs. My sister wishes she had started with Daisy as far as getting her in a habit of walking with her and around distractions like squirrels and so forth, because Daisy's prey drive kicks in.
Oh, okay.
And so she had to play catch up with that. Anyway, so now we'll move on to your dogs.
Should be a picture of, there we go.
There.
Okay, this is a Bernese Mountain Dog named Ulrich, and he is 7 to 8 weeks on the left, and he's 4 months on the right, and that's about the last time I picked him up as a 4-month-old. Okay, go on.
Only 16 weeks. That's at the end, the very end of that initial socialization period.
Mm-hmm. He was a very friendly guy at that point. Can we go to the next one? Okay. So at 8 months old, we had to have a hip surgery done. And so he was confined to a crate for 4 to 6 weeks, not always with the cone of shame. But this was not quite handled as well as I had hoped, and this set him way back on socialization. With other dogs, he's fine. Really, he doesn't care about other dogs. You know, another dog comes up, he ignores them. People, he's very shy and a little bit afraid. On the right is 1 year old.
I think you'd mentioned his mom was shy.
Yeah.
And so you had gotten him socialized. He was comfortable around people initially.
He was good.
He was good.
Mm-hmm.
Then the medical procedure comes up, the hip had to be done.
I don't know if he associates people with what happened, because that was a traumatic surgery.
Yeah. And so what you'd the dilemma there was how to get him around people when he's in his cage. So
right.
Another way to have done that, but you figure it out as you go, is have people come in and toss him treats and that sort of thing, and so he would have been used to people coming in.
Right.
But then you didn't have the chance to take him out, and so it would have had to been a concerted effort to bring people into your house, a variety of people, and
as a result of this, he is not scared of the vacuum sweeper.
He's used to that.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is 2 years old, and you can see how big he is. He's just with his front paws up on my lap. Okay, and this is, okay. Okay, the purpose of showing the large one, if you go back, is if you don't socialize them right, they come out in maybe a few different ways. And it's a big dog. It's harder to control. He's shy. I had another one who was not socialized very well. He had trust issues and had to be put down.
That dog came to you already, I believe, as an adult.
He was a year and a half, 2 years old.
You tried everything you
had
could.
fear, aggression, and that's where things go wrong.
And
when you have
some severe bites. So,
yeah. When you have a big dog, that's a problem. I mean, people laugh about it when they have a little teeny dog, but when you got a big dog, that's a different story. And there was a picture in there where we took 2 of our dogs to the Farm Fest, and they got petted by all kinds of people. Yeah, there we go. On the left, I have Rosalind and Oliver. Oliver's a very friendly guy. I got him as a rescue, and he's a great dog. But 400 people probably, I counted, petted all these guys. And they loved every bit of it. Yeah. They weren't nervous at all, and so
that's
she
the
has
key.
no problem with people.
When we're taking puppies out, we are introducing them to the world, and the way we do that is we're introducing them to, hey, this is fun, you're safe, enjoy what's around you. When we do that so that if we see that they're uncomfortable, that they're not having a good time, then we back it up a little bit and let them have a space or a little breathing time that they need to be enjoyable. And if they, after 10 people have said hello and the dog's going like, okay, get the people away, then we go, okay, that's great. If 400 people say hi to the dog and the dog's fine with all of them, that's successful.
And the only problem I have now is she wants to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, well, that's a good problem to have.
She sees a kid down the road, and it's like, I want to see who those people are.
So can we go to the slide about socialization? I believe it's slide 12.
Should be
the best thing.
Should be after all the pictures.
So socialization is the best thing you can do to protect your puppy's health, happiness, and life. More dogs lose their lives due to preventable behavior problems than lose their lives due to illness.
And I see this all the time when I go to the shelter. Most of the dogs are between like a year and 3 years old.
Right.
And they've grown up, they've had bad socialization or training or lack of any training,
Right.
and now they're a problem.
Right.
And now they're in the shelter, and hopefully not a high kill shelter,
Right.
because then they're gone.
Then they have a chance if the shelter can keep them.
Mm-hmm.
As far as socialization, the American Society of Veterinary Animal Behaviorists recommends that as soon as a dog has had their first round of vaccines and they've had time for that immunization to kick in, to get your dog out socializing. We'll talk about that. Always consult your veterinarian and consult the American Society of Veterinary Behaviorists to see what the most modern recommendations are.
Now, with a puppy, you have to worry about parvo and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that their parvo vaccinations are up to date. So you don't want to take them out into public areas where other dogs are going to the bathroom and doing things where they can pick up diseases.
Yeah, we'll talk about what kind of dogs and puppies to have them around on that point there, definitely. And you're talking about the dogs in the shelters. The average age, and I think this is the next slide, the average age of dogs going to shelters or dog pounds is about 1.5 years, and that's at that point dogs are full size, they're stronger, they're harder to control physically because they're bigger, and more experienced. What scared them before is now, instead of backing up from that, they're bigger, they're more confident, and they're more likely to approach what scares them in an aggressive get away from them message manner than they are to withdraw. And then that's when you can get fear aggression rolling. By the time they're 1.5 years, they have a history of habits that may have created frustrating problems for the owners, which the owners at that point have been unable to solve.
Now
they might have been pulled back from exposure to other things, and their socialization might have just been sort of waning away.
Mm-hmm. And besides socialization, 1.5 years, remember that your dog is an adolescent and how your kids are as adolescents.
Totally great point.
So you got to give them a little bit of leeway. You're a teenager and you're going to do some stupid stuff.
Yeah,
hang in there.
Yeah, so you want to get that good foundation started to begin with.
Here's the rules.
Yeah, here's the rules. You get that going. It's like a good teamwork thing, and a verse I think I'm not usually quote the Bible, but usually train your children as you want them to be when they're younger, and they will not depart from those ways when they're older. Mm-hmm. They're not talking about adolescents, and the same applies to dogs.
Right.
Adolescents, you're going to go back and you're going to be reteaching.
Right.
And you want that foundation to go back to reteach. So can we go to the next slide there, and it's about socialization with the litter and new family. And where are we with time?
We got 14 minutes.
Great, okay, super. There are 2 phases of socialization, and this is if we get a puppy when they're 8 or 9 weeks old or 7.
That's a normal time you would pick them when they get weaned.
If you're getting them out of a litter and you have that
from a
breeder or something. You've got socialization the whole thing really starts even neonatally. So the quality of life that the mother dog has, the level of stress she's under is going to affect the whole litter and their brain development. The care that those puppies get, they're having some exposure to new sounds and some new sensations and people and so forth matters even before they're weaned. When they're with their moms, they're going to be learning bite inhibition from their litter mates. They're going to be learning that from their moms. If they're nursing and they bite down a little hard, they're going to know that didn't work for mom.
Yeah, that worked with Rosalind, and one of my guys did not do that. The big Bernese Mountain Dogs told her. They played with her enough and told her, okay, this is the limit. I'm not taking this more from you, puppy, and put her on the ground. The older dog, Riley, stayed away. He's 10 years old. It's like, I'm old, just leave me alone.
Yes, right.
And then it got to be where if he wanted a bone or if he went into the wrong area, she attacked him. And now they've figured it out. They've had a couple scuffles, and the balance of power is figured out.
Yeah.
So she's doing better now.
Yeah. And what puppies learn when they're with their litters is they start learning, first off, they're a dog. They learn how to communicate and to read the body language of other dogs. That's where that begins. If a puppy wasn't around other dogs and its litter and engaging in some of that rough and tumble play, it doesn't know how to speak canine very well.
Now, and the other problem I have, I've got a group of 4 dogs, and just because they get along within the house within those 4 dogs doesn't mean she is socialized with dogs.
No, that's her group.
Right. So she's okay with them, but another dog comes around, she can still be a little aggressive. Yeah.
And so that's why we're talking about getting dogs. Once dogs are with us, with our new families, they are, again, through that 12-week, maybe 16-week, they're learning what's normal and need not be feared. They're continuing to learn bite inhibition, so they understand people's skin is a whole lot more tender than other dog skin. If they get a chance to be around other puppies and other dogs of various ages, they're learning how to interact with various kinds of dogs. Dogs, if they are only around their breed, they don't necessarily know how to read a breed that looks different. Maybe that other breed is larger. Maybe that other breed has ears that are so flopped down that they don't, give communication signals very much, or tails that are corkscrewed or bobbed, or ears that are like on a daub that have been, made surgically to be up in the air all the time. So in order to, it's sort of like a different culture a little bit, and they need to be exposed to dogs of different sizes. And then, as you mentioned there, with adult dogs, at some point, if dogs are fortunate enough to be around friendly, safe, dog-friendly older dogs who are, up-to-date on their vaccinations. Kind of we're getting into that point there. If you're going to socialize your puppy with other puppies and with other dogs, then you want owners that are like-minded, that know how to read dogs, and you also want to know that all those dogs are up-to-date on their vaccinations. When they're with older dogs, at some point as a puppy gets older, those older dogs will revoke that puppy's puppy license. They will say, okay, they'll say, you know what, you're not 10 weeks old anymore, and that's no longer cute, so back up. Right. We're on the level playing field now. And you need to learn sort of how to show some manners here. Right. Yeah. Respect my authority. Right, or just the size, So
on a side note, as far as shelter dogs, don't dive into this right as soon as you get them. When they come out of the shelter, they're pretty stressed. They've had a hard life. Give them a week or two to decompress and feel safe in their new environment. And then start taking them out and seeing your friends and all this stuff. And you're going to be finding out who this dog is. I think it'd be a great program to do, is introducing a shelter dog, especially maybe a somewhat older shelter dog to your home. That'd be a super one. What dogs are learning in socialization too is they're learning a number of skills. They are learning. We're doing house training with them. They're learning comfort with having their bodies handled for veterinary procedures and nail trimming. Trim their nails early and make it a nice experience. Give them treats. If they're a long-haired dog, comb their hair and make everything a nice thing. Yeah, you don't have to do all the nails at once. Just get one nail and, and then there's tomorrow or this afternoon or something or this evening. They're getting comfortable with people approaching their toys and their food. They're learning how to read people. They're learning give and take manners with people. And puppies can start learning as early as 8 weeks. It's amazing what they can learn with positive reinforcement techniques. We had ours sitting, and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, they enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
They're learning come, sit, down, stay, go to your mat, take it, leave it, drop it, and walk with me. They're learning how to tolerate being by themselves, so even though it's great to have our puppies with us all the time, we want them to learn like we do with children, to play by themselves for a while. They're learning frustration tolerance, they're learning how to wait, and with good teaching techniques, they're learning how to learn, and all that really develops you can just see in the nervous system, it really makes a big difference with brain development. You get, with all these approaches, a much more stable, socially adaptable, ready to learn animal. Now, on the other side, if there's an animal, a puppy that's been raised in a puppy mill type situation with a stressed mom, little opportunity to play with litter mates, to explore, minimal contact with people, and then it's kept for sale for weeks or months in a socially isolated cage much of the day until after that initial critical socialization window is closed. By 6 weeks is really the outside on that, and that is the outside of the outside. That puppy has a lot to overcome, and those challenges are likely to be a bigger negative effect than whatever the positive aspects of that particular breed are.
And like I say, spend the time. You know, if you're going to get a puppy or a dog, you have to spend that time with them to do all these things in the first year. Don't expect, I'm going to get a dog and my life is going to be the same. We're going to go out to eat and do all the same things. We're going to go, to the mall or whatever.
Right. This is compressed. You're going from infancy to adolescence in 52 weeks.
Right. And you got to do this right.
You hit the ground running on
You
this.
have to do this right, and then you'll have a great relationship with your dog.
Yeah.
If you mess it up, then you might have a problem.
You're gonna be playing catch up for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Prevention's easier. It's
kind
of
definitely.
like the car guy. Says change your oil now. Do you want to pay me now or pay me later?
Yeah.
And
rebuild your motor.
Pay later is more expensive. Okay, so if you've got another dog in the home, you want that dog to be, if they have problems with their habits, address those first, rather than bringing a puppy in and that puppy learning that older dog's habits.
Yeah, this complicates things.
That complicates things. And so there are ways to think about introducing as well, usually, use smell and that sort of thing, and provide some sort of safe barriers. If you've got another dog in the home and you're bringing a puppy in, be sure to give attention to your older dog and not just pile it on the puppy. The older dog will notice if they are left out in the cold, and it probably won't go well.
No, and they'll look at you differently, and
yeah, it's a problem. It's a trust problem.
Well, with mine, I've got 4, and so all the time I have to split my attention up. I'll take maybe one of them outside and give him attention because they all have to feel special.
They all notice whether they're getting something.
Yeah.
So when you've got a new puppy, you want to, a big thing is you always want to be reading that puppy. Does that puppy look happy? Is that puppy looking confident? Is that puppy curious and energetic, bouncing around? That's what you want to see.
Between his legs.
And if you see a tail between its legs, head to the side, giving little warning, uncomfortable growls, watch the dog, and rather than saying, hey, get in there, be a big boy, deal with it, back it up a little bit, make it enjoyable for the dog. Dogs at that age are naturally curious. Let their curiosity work for you. Go at their pace.
I read that there are certain times where they get scared of things.
There will be a fear period. I'm so glad you brought that up. There will be a fear period during the 16-week period there, and for maybe 7 days, 10 days, a dog that had been just great will kind of like, I'm kind of leery of things. Mm-hmm. And so if you see that happening, nothing you're doing wrong, just read the dog.
Reinforce the good.
Reinforce the good.
I would just pick her up and take her, so she feels safe with me. Mm-hmm. But still around the environment that she might be scared of.
Yeah, you give them a certain distance, or they're with you and so forth, and then they're comfortable.
Right.
And then once you get that going, you want to be introducing your new puppy to new people, places, things. This is people who are older, younger, using canes or in a wheelchair, various races and appearances, wearing hats, sunglasses, people on bicycles, playground noises, being in the car at a friend's house, in a store that lets dogs in, playground noises, children, various sounds in the house like the sweeper. So rather than turning the sweeper on right next to the dog's ear, have it like a room away, you know, that kind of thing. And communicate with your puppy. They're going to be they're reading you, and like they would with their mother or father or their pack.
They're taking the cues from you.
Taking the cues from you.
And like my wife, you know, she doesn't do it as well as I do. I don't approach it, you know, there are certain situations that have been trouble or fearsome or whatever, and it gives the dog a cue. If you approach this fearsome thing as no big deal, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not leading the dog into a situation where I'm going, oh my God, something's going to happen.
Right. You want to get yourself comfortable with whatever you're taking your dog into.
If you feel calm and secure, the
you're
dog will pick that up and then be better with it.
If you can, get your puppy to a puppy socialization class. Those are ones that I will be offering once I get my business going.
That sounds like a great idea, because you don't know, you know, just not every dog you may want to socialize with, because they might have a bad attitude. And
can we have the last slide? Educate yourself. If you can't get to a class,
There's a book slide.
There's a book slide. Puppy Start Right Foundation Training for the Companion Dog, and also Ian Dunbar's Dog Star Daily website. That's the next slide.
Okay, what can you find at this website?
That has all kinds of incredible information about dogs at all phases, but particularly puppy socialization. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for watching, and have a good time with your dog and spend a lot of time in training. Thanks for watching.
Second that, yeah.